Hi, everyone. Welcome again to Enjoy English School. I'm Bruce.
Hi, 大家好，我是 Bernice.
Today and tomorrow, we are talking about our destination part of our magazine. Every month we go someplace, and where you end up is your destination. Well, actually, our destination is not a place. It's a road from one place to another place, but we're going to be talking about a very special road in American history, even today. And that's why we call our lesson for today, Get Your Kicks on Route 66.
好，所以我们今天的行遍天下，刚才Bruce老师讲了 destination 它可能是一个地点，不过我们今天要讲的是一条路哈。这条路呢，在美国呢是一个传奇，所以它的标题呢叫做 Get Your Kicks。这个 kicks 就是 have fun， 你可以玩得很愉快。然后在这一条路上面，那这条路呢在美国，所以相信等一下Bruce老师可以对这条路呢讲很多的历史故事给各位同学来听听看。
Get your kicks on Route 66. Route 66, also called the Mother Road, is the most famous road in North America. It connects Chicago to Los Angeles, and its history is closely related to the rise of cars and interstate travel. In the 20th century, Route 66 became a symbol of freedom and opportunity for millions who made the trip west across the United States. As the number of car owners increased in the early 20th century, modern roads were needed to transport goods from the industrialized East to the recently settled West. A businessman named Cyrus Avery proposed a highway linking Chicago and California across the Southwest. The project was approved in 1926, and Route 66 was fully paved by 1938. More than just a road connecting two major cities, Route 66 was an economic lifeline for the country. During the Great Depression of the 1930s, it was a path to a better life in California. After World War II, countless small towns and businesses popped up along the route during the 1950s. In the recovery years, American families would take vacations to drive Route 66 and see the wonders of the West. For 3 generations, Route 66 was a symbolic road to prosperity and possibility.
Okay, we're back, and remember, this is a 2-day lesson, so this is day 1, of course. Let's take a look at our first paragraph. Route 66, also called the Mother Road, is the most famous road in North America. Now, you may not have ever heard of it. Usually, roads aren't famous. But in this case, Route 66 is, and today and tomorrow we'll be telling you a lot about this very special road.
好，所以呢，他这边讲的就是这条公路的名称是66号公路。那么这条公路还有另外一个名字，就叫母亲之路 （Mother Road）。好，等一下这个Bruce老师会讲更多有关于它的这个历史故事。那它在北美呢是非常非常著名的一条道路。
It connects Chicago to Los Angeles, and its history is closely related to the rise of cars and interstate travel. Chicago is more or less in the center north of the United States, that is in the middle, but in the north part of the country. And Los Angeles, most of you probably know, is in California in the southern part. So if you're looking at a map of America from your perspective, Chicago's here and Los Angeles is here. The road connects the two. It joins Chicago and LA.
好，所以这条道路呢，它呢连接 connect 就是连接的意思。它连接的地方呢是第一个是芝加哥，然后一直到刚才老师讲到洛杉矶这个地方。好，然后而且呢，它也有一个非常这个 closely related to be related to 就是与什么相关，有很密切的相关联，跟这个所谓的汽车。还有美国的这个洲际旅行，好，所以它用 interstate。
Okay, to be closely related to, as Bernice told you, is to be connected with. A is connected with B. And the road has a very special history to it because it shows and explains as America grew up.It's not an old country. It's not like India or China. We have only a few hundred years, not a few thousand years of history. But as America developed so quickly in the last century, in the 19th century, people needed a way to get from the east, where most of the people live, like in New York, Virginia, Florida, to go out west. Well, you can't walk that far.So we needed roads, and Route 66 helped serve the needs of the United States by helping them move more quickly and easily from the middle part, east and middle part of the country, all the way over to California.
所以呢，这边就讲到这个，老师刚才讲就是66号公路它的一个功用，就是当时呢，在美国的东边，因为美国大概几百年的历史，在它的东边的人，然后要到它的这个另外一边的时候，就是通过这一条道路的帮助。
Yeah, for example, very quickly here, the East Coast 200 years ago, all of the states that I mentioned,Florida, Virginia, New York, they were already states. California wasn't a state yet. Washington wasn't a state. Arizona was not a state. Wyoming was not a state. Dung. So we needed a way to help move the population, to help move the people easily and quickly from the east to the west.
所以从东边到西边，当时呢，连加州都还不算一个州，可是纽约他们这边已经是个州了，然后所以从这边的人比较多的地方，要移到西边的时候，就会透过这些道路了。
Okay, we'll finish with this sentence. Route 66 became a symbol of freedom and opportunity for millions who made the trip west across the United States.It was a new kind of road. It was a very well-built road, and it served a purpose that people actually wanted. The East was getting more and more crowded and more expensive, and we had a lot of poor people, and they thought, well, I'm going to buy a car, even a very old used one,and see how far I can go and start my new life there.
OK, 好，所以这边就讲到最后一个句子，讲到66号公路呢，它呢就成为了一个 symbol， 就成为一个象征。什么样的象征呢？就是表示自由。好，还有第二个就是机会的这个象征，对于好几百万的人，那这些人呢，就是想要这个有一个这样的一个旅行的机会，从这个西边美国的西部，好，一直这样子旅行，看他们可以到多远的地方。就像刚才 Bruce 老师讲的，一般来说在东边的这边人，他们的比较有钱，可是有一些比较贫困的人，比较 poor 的 people， 他们希望有一个机会，看看他买一台，就算一台很旧的车子，他都可以横跨这个美国的西部到西边去。所以呢，这一条道路就变成了一个象征。
Right. Okay, let's take a short break before we look at our second paragraph.
好的。
Okay, welcome back, and let's continue now. Second paragraph. As the number of car owners increased in the early 20th century, modern roads were needed to transport goods from the industrialized East to the recently settled West. In the first paragraph, we mentioned the rise of cars and interstate travel. The rise of cars is just what we're reading here. The recently industrialized East. The East Coast already had big cities, New York, Philadelphia, Boston, even Chicago, but there was nothing out west or very little. And you could buy a car because of the Ford company. Henry Ford, we use his name for his company. He wanted his workers to make enough money to buy a car, and that helped the rise of cars. Suddenly, it was very popular and much easier to own a car, and that helped people who wanted to move from the busy, expensive, industrialized East Coast through the middle part, which is the farming part of America, to the West Coast, where some people thought, I want to get away from that East Coast. Let's start a new life out here.
好，所以呢，这边讲到 as 就是随着呢，在当时20世纪初好，那个时候呢，拥有车辆的人数呢就开始增加了。那刚刚就老师讲的，增加的原因就是因为在东岸的地方，像 Boston 啊，像 New York 这边，他们都很贵。然后什么物价都很贵，所以有一些人呢，他们就想要往西边这边去移动。然后因为 Henry Ford 的关系呢，他要让他的工人赚钱，所以大家这样子有钱就可以买车了。好，然后这样就可以开着车呢，就造就了现代化的这个道路就变成是被需要的。需要来干嘛呢？因为人都要开始搬迁了嘛，所以第一个你就要开始 transport， 你要来运送你的一些 goods， 一些货物，然后从呢东边这些所谓的工业化的东部，然后搬迁到所谓最近呢在西部才刚刚开始 settled， 就是刚刚才定居的，就是这些人才刚从这边比较昂贵物价的地方、高物价的地方搬到西边地方。所以这个时候呢，就是因为为什么他们有这个机会，就是因为20世纪初开始有很多的车子。
A businessman named Cyrus Avery proposed a highway linking Chicago and California across the Southwest. He was already thinking the country is growing and expanding. More and more people, more and more money, but it's all on the East Coast, so let's build a road. And Mr. Avery was the first person to think about and design to join the East and Midwest, where Chicago is, over to Southern California. 好，所以就出现了这个人 Mr. Avery 这个人呢，他是一个 businessman。好，他呢这个商人呢，他当时就 proposed， 就 suggested， 他就这样子建议了，说，这样好了，我们来盖一个 highway， 好，盖一个高速公路。这个高速公路可以 linking， 它可以连接 Chicago 跟 California， 然后刚好呢，它就是在这一个所谓的横跨西南这个地方的一个道路，所以他呢就当时是第一个这个有这样的想法的人。 All right, Mr. Avery proposed a highway. That means he gave a suggestion to the government, and the project was approved in 1926. My father was just a boy back then. It's not that long ago that America started to build a highway system. And Route 66 was fully paved. To pave is to finish a road. You put a surface on a road after you dig up the earth. You have to make it flat, and there are many ways you can do that, but that's to pave a road. And it took a while. 1938, that would be 12 years of building it, but that's a long way. That's over 3,000 kilometers.
Wow, 所以有超过3000公里这么长的一条 highway 哦。所以虽然它只有花12年的时间，可是确实是一个非常非常长的一条道路。所以当时呢，这个 Mr. Avery 他跟政府呢去做这样的建议，就是要新建一个 highway 的时候呢，他这样子的 的一个 project， 它这样的一个计划呢就被 approved， 被同意了，被批准了，被 accepted， 被接受了。在1926年，政府说 OK， 你就去建这个路吧。好，那这一条路呢，道路这个66号公路呢，就在1938年之前呢就已经可以全面的铺设。刚才就讲了 pave the way， 就是你要把这个 surface 弄得平平的，让这个车子可以开过去。所以呢，就在1938年12年之后，这条道路就通行啦。
Right. All right, we'll find out more after our break.
好的。
Okay, let's finish up today's lesson. Again, tomorrow we'll give you more information about Route 66. More than just a road connecting two major cities, Route 66 was an economic lifeline for the country. Now, we talked about Chicago and L.A. Those are the two major cities today. L.A. is Los Angeles. We often use L.A. to talk about it. L.A. is the second largest city in the country, and Chicago is third. They're still very large cities. And because it was easy to move goods and people across the country, it was an economic lifeline. The people out west needed these goods. They had not yet developed yet.
对，没错。所以呢，这一条道路不仅仅只是一条路 ，more than just， 我们中文就翻成不仅仅只是 ，OK？ 它不是只是一条路，就是 connecting 这两个 major cities， 就是刚刚讲的 Chicago 跟 LA， 因为他们两个一个是 LA 是第2大城市，那么 Chicago 是美国第3大城市。好，不是只有在光连接这2大城市，同时呢，这一个66号公路呢，它也是当时美国的一个经济命脉啊。好，因为呢，刚才讲了西部那个时候还没有发展起来，所以他们还是需要有运送货物啊，有一些这样的一些贸易上的交流，所以呢，这一条道路就变成了当时的经济命脉。
During the Great Depression of the 1930s, it was a path to a better life in California. The Great Depression is well named. It was a period of about 10 years in which the economy was really, really bad. You haven't seen anything like this. My father was a boy and a young man growing up during this period, and he shared some of his family experiences with me. It was not a comfortable life at all, but the Route 66, if people decided, I'm going to start a new life, so let me go out to California, let me get away from the big cities, Chicago, New York, Boston, and I believe that things are cheaper out there. I can build my own home, and I can start a new and better life for me and my family.
好，所以当时呢，就是在这个1930年代，那个时候经过了经济的大萧条时期，就像老师刚才讲的，那个时候的经济是非常非常的差，好，所以每个人的生活都是非常的不好，过得非常的不舒适，所以呢，这个时候呢，在这个 it was it 就是指这一个道路呢，就变成是一个 path， 变成是一条通往的这样的一个路，这个路呢，就是到California， 然后看可不可以有一个 better life， 因为当时的大家每一个人呢都过得非常的不好，所以呢，刚才不是一开始有讲吗？这一条路是一种 freedom， 是 opportunity， 所以他们希望说，我是不是到了一个另外的城市里面，我可以买到我自己的房子，我可以过得稍微好一点，不要过得这么样的可怜，所以这个时候这一条道路就变成了是他们通往California 一条更好生活的道路。
After World War II, so that would be 1945 and later, countless small towns and businesses popped up along the route during the 1950s. During the war, people didn't move around very much. After the war, though, the economy improved very, very quickly. And many small towns began to just pop up like mushrooms after the rain. As so many people left the East and headed to the Midwest, the middle of the country, or the West Coast.
好，所以后来呢，就是在这一个after， 就是在第二次世界大战之后呢，因为那时候经济开始好转啦，所以就出现了countless， 就是很多很多的无数的一些小城镇，还有一些这个企业，他们就 pop up。刚刚老师讲的那个 mushroom， 就是那小蘑菇头，然后在下过雨之后就会跑出很多蘑菇，有没有？因为蘑菇就是生长在那种潮湿的环境里面。好，然后呢，他们就突然都跑出来了，然后呢，就在沿着这一条这个66号公路，然后那个时候的时期呢是在1950年代。
In the recovery years, that is after 1945, American families would take vacations to drive Route 66 and see the wonders of the West. They didn't always just go to California. There are many beautiful places. You've heard of them, Yosemite National Park and Grand Canyon and so on and so on. The American West, the Rocky Mountains, are really a beautiful place.
刚刚老师讲那两个地方就是美国两大国家公园 Yosemite 就是优胜美地公园，然后一个是大峡谷公园。好，所以就可以去这个国家公园里面逛一逛。所以他就说了，在那个 recovery years， 就是在过了二次世界大战之后，那个时候就是他们的经济复苏了，开始变好的这个年代呢，那个时候的美国的家庭们就开始可以去度假了。那他们度假的方式呢，就是呢这个驾往这个开车前往这个66号公路，然后他们就可以去西边看一看那边有什么样的 wonders， 什么样的奇观。
And we finish up with, for 3 generations, Route 66 was a symbolic road to prosperity and possibility. So the first generation would have been in the 1930s and through the Second World War, then after the World War, and then about in the 1960s, 70s. That would have been the third generation. This was an area of growth, excitement, prosperity, there's your growth, and possibility, excitement. You can make your own life.
没错，所以呢，后来就是在这个对于第三个世代来说，就是刚刚老师讲的，在第二次世界大战之后，大概1960、70年代，那个时候是第三个世代。那么66号公路呢，就变成是一个 symbolic road， 是一个象征性的道路。然后这条道路就是对于美国人来说是通往他们的 prosperity， 就是繁荣。然后第二个就是 possibility， 就是可能性，希望可以过更好的生活。
All right, we'll take a short break now and then come back for our vocabulary review. Okay, our first item is route, and you should have guessed by now that it means road.
这个字是名词，道路。
2, connect A to B is to join 2 different things.
没错，把 A 跟 B 连接在一起。
Number 3, transport. 不是 transport. Transport is to move something from A to B.
动意在第二音节 transport 当动词运输。
If you approve of something, our fourth item, you favor it or allow it.
没错，这个字当动词就是允许啦，或者是同意。
Number 5, pave is to cover a road so you can drive on it.
这边也是当动词铺设。
Number 6, economic, IC 字尾, that's the adjective for economy, so it has to do with business.
没错，这个是当形容词经济的。
Number 7, pop up is to grow or appear very quickly.
没错，这个当动词的片语突然出现。
And our last item, number 8, prosperity. It's a noun that means a period when the economy is good, people make enough money, and people have fun.
没错，这个字是名词，繁荣的意思。
That's it for day 1. Come back with us tomorrow, and we will finish up this fascinating American story, Route 66. Until then,
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.